A thriving marine aquarium is one of the most mesmerizing things you can build inside your home. The colors, the movement, and the intricate life are incredibly rewarding to watch. But getting there means facing a harsh reality. Setting up a saltwater tank costs roughly 5 times as much as a freshwater setup, and the margin for error is incredibly thin. A lot of people assume that means marine tanks are difficult to run. They aren't. They simply operate on a completely different, unforgiving baseline where mistakes hit faster. This matrix breaks down the core differences. We're looking at freshwater forgiveness versus saltwater strictness across 3 main categories: evaporation, filtration, and disease. When freshwater evaporates, you can often just top off the tank with conditioned tap water. In a saltwater tank, evaporation leaves the salt behind. If you don't replace that lost volume with purified, zero TDS water, the remaining water becomes dangerously salty. The same rigid requirements apply to filtration and disease management. Saltwater requires hardware to pull waste out of the water physically, and strict protocols to keep parasites out of the system. Saltwater success depends on your ability to maintain a rock-solid environment, even when the physics of evaporation and biological waste are working against you. The first physical decision you have to make is tank size, and this is where beginners fall into a very common trap. A 10 to 30-gallon nano tank looks appealing. The glass is cheaper, the lights are smaller, and it easily fits on an apartment desk. The flaw is the water volume. A small volume of water means rapid evaporation, and as we established, when that water evaporates, the salt stays behind, causing immediate salinity spikes. This chart plots tank volume against parameter volatility. Nanotanks sit right in the high volatility zone, where a chemical swing can wipe out livestock in hours. By contrast, a 40-gallon breeder's larger volume dilutes spikes, buying you time to react. Whether you choose a large or small tank, you have to manage evaporation. That requires reverse osmosis deionization, or RODI water. You pair that RODI water with an auto top-off, or ATO system. A sensor detects when the water level drops by even a fraction of an inch and automatically pumps in fresh RODI water to keep the salinity perfectly stable. Spending budget on an ATO and an RODI filter is a direct trade. You are paying cash to completely eliminate daily manual labor and the risk of catastrophic heavy metal poisoning from tap water. Once you have the water volume sorted out for your tank, you have to accurately measure the salt content itself. A lot of starter kits include cheap plastic hydrometers with a floating plastic arm. They are notoriously inaccurate. Purchasing a calibrated optical refractometer is a non-negotiable requirement. This specific gravity scale shows exactly what you are aiming for. The safe zone for a marine tank is right between 1.020 and 1.025. Drift above or below that, and your fish's organs begin to fail. Beyond measuring the salt, you have to establish the biological filter. That means choosing between ocean-harvested live rock and completely dry aragonite rock. Dry rock is the safer route. It is cheaper, and because it has never been in the ocean, it guarantees your tank won't be invaded by hitchhiking pests like predatory crabs or stinging Iptasia anemones. The trade-off is time. Because dry rock lacks established bacteria, your tank will go through a very aggressive ugly phase of brown and green algae growth for a few months while the biological cycle matures. To help manage that cycle, you add a protein skimmer. This acts as a mechanical safety net, using millions of microbubbles to physically strip organic fish waste out of the water before it can break down into toxic ammonia. When you rely on precise measuring tools and a pest-free filtration strategy, you build a massive buffer against silent, creeping tank deaths. All of this hardware exists for one reason: to support the living inhabitants. And your first fish must be chosen carefully. As a beginner, you must stick to hardy, captive-bred species, like the Ocellaris clownfish, bottom-dwelling gobies, and colorful royal grammas. These fish are recommended because they have high survival rates, bold personalities, and they readily accept basic frozen foods like mysis shrimp without fuss. Highly visual, complex fish, like tangs or mandarin dragonets, require mature ecosystems with established microfauna. You need to avoid them entirely until your tank has been running for at least a full year. You also have to navigate marine territorial aggression. Unlike freshwater schooling fish, You generally cannot mix multiple fish of the same species in a standard marine tank without them fighting to the death. Once you select a compatible fish, you have to follow a strict protocol. Every single fish you purchase must be isolated in a separate quarantine tank for 4 weeks before entering your main display. Skipping quarantine introduces marine parasites like ick into your system. Once it is in the main tank, it will rapidly multiply and wipe out your entire financial investment. Successful livestock curation requires extreme patience. You are intentionally delaying the gratification of exotic fish to allow the tank's biology to stabilize. This decision tree maps constraints to setups. A tight budget leads to a nanotank, demanding ironclad discipline for daily testing to prevent crashes. A standard budget selects a 40-gallon breeder with an auto top-off and skimmer. This higher volume grants a massive safety buffer. There is a clear line here. If you are unwilling to quarantine fish for 4 weeks, or if you plan to rely on untreated tap water, you should avoid this hobby entirely. Ultimately, your initial investment pays for a dedicated, automated life support system that manages the water chemistry on your behalf. Investing in the tools that handle the chemistry allows you to focus on the goal, building a thriving, vibrant community of fish.